Hey, this is Soral Sonara from Express Lane Immigration. Today I'm going to talk about different types of LMIAs. There's a couple that I want to introduce to you, especially for those that are completely unfamiliar. Now, an LMIA gives employers in Canada an opportunity to hire foreign workers from anywhere in the world. All right? There are some LMIA exempt categories, but that's only particular to specific countries. Okay? So if you want to hire from anywhere around the world, an LMIA gives you that opportunity. Now, let's start with differentiating between a low wage and a high wage LMIA. A low wage is for a wage that's below a particular wage in each province. So this is usually for unskilled labor or skilled labor that's still kind of unskilled. Like for example, a retail supervisor, food service supervisor, anything below around the $23 to $25 mark. Again, depends on the province. All right. So that's called a low wage LMIA. It typically involves advertising for 1 month in 3 different settings, catering to underrepresented groups. After that, you can submit that application to the government, to ESDC, the Employment Development Organization of the federal government, and they will process it. Nowadays, the processing is very slow, can take up to 4 or 5 months. So, if you're planning to hire foreign workers, it's best to think at least 6 months in advance of what you might need, right? Now, a high wage, on the other hand, is for occupations that are above that $24 to $26 mark, depending on the province again. What this does, it gives, first of all, there's a couple of benefits to having a high wage LMIA. It's much faster processing because high wages are usually very skilled, right? Skilled occupations. Now, one main difference between a high wage and a low wage would be the transition plan that you have to include. The transition plan is basically showcasing in the LMI application what you as an employer, you as a local Canadian business are going to do to transition from using foreign workers into local people. Now, there's various things you could do. I don't want to explain it in this video, but it's a section of the LMI that you have to fill out yourself. What kind of steps you'll take to even transition that foreign worker into eventually becoming a PR, right? So there's various things. I don't want to get into that. The third thing would be a PR based LMI. Now, this is an LMI specifically for giving someone the opportunity for PR, right? The processing for this, especially now, is much more favorable than the other category, especially the low wage. The high wage is different, but yeah, comparing it to the low wage, like if you were going to submit a low wage foreign worker application for LMI versus a low wage that's skilled but for a PR application, this PR one is more likely to be processed and much faster and more likely to be approved. Okay. Now, what does the PR LMI give you? What it means is if it's approved, it's going to give 50 points to that foreign candidate and help them by increasing their points 50 by 50 in the Express Entry profile. That might be the make it or break it in terms of if they get invited or not, right? If they're sitting at 420 and you give them 50 points, that takes them to 470, and now they can get PR through Express Entry. All right. Now, that also gives the PR LMI also allows that worker, that person to come and work in Canada at the same time as applying for the PR. So you could have a worker come and be employed by your business at the same time their PR application is being processed. So these are the main differences between the three categories of LMIs, right? Low wage, high wage, and PR. Now I'll briefly explain the LMI exempt categories. So the main one I can think of would be the international experience categories. And this one, within it, there's various agreements that Canada has with different countries, right? For open work permits. Um, there's one with there's a new one coming out with Hong Kong, which is kind of the same as the old one, where especially for the youth, right, people from 18 to 30 or 35 years old, they can come on an open work permit and work in Canada for 1 or 2 years, according to the old rules. Now the new one's going to come out. The details are slowly coming out. So Canada has the same type of agreement with many other countries, especially in Europe and other parts of Asia, like East Asia, and some countries in South America as well. And then there's another category of LMI exempt, would be the francophone category, right? So for this, if you want to hire any foreign worker from a French-speaking country, you can do so without an LMI. All they need is a job offer, right? But it has to be for a skilled occupation, a NOC 0, A or B occupation. This is a great opportunity for many businesses and employers here if they don't want to wait 5 months for an LMI to be processed. They don't want to go through that headache of trying to show the government of all the steps they've taken. It's just a great opportunity. We can definitely help you out with that. If you have any questions about it, feel free to contact me at expresslaneimmigration.ca or